So our vaccination rollout is picking up again. We heard this last night from the Health Minister, but there is a need to get jabs to more people more easily. A number of innovative ideas are being planned, and I'm joined now by Martin Kingston, Chairperson of the B4SA Steering Committee, which of course is driving the rollout for business. Martin, thank you so much for your time. So there's a big demand strategy on communication. It's being developed. I know the Health Ministry is very involved, but business is playing a role as well. Just very briefly, tell me what the main strategy is around communication.
Well, we've got to be clear that, as you've said, now that we've got the vaccines and we've got the sites to administer the vaccines, we need the people to turn up to be vaccinated. And we've had a drop-off. Part of the drop-off was due to the fact that there was a shortfall in supply. But part of it is because it's difficult, inconvenient. Actually, vaccine hesitancy is not the most significant problem. And we've therefore got to look at how we can bring vaccines to the people. And bringing in the next age cohort of 18 to 35, we're convinced will not only make sure that we vaccinate more of our adult population, but they can be of significant assistance in facilitating the elderly, those above 60 and 50, in getting vaccinated. And the communication needs to be clear, simple and consistent about how people can get vaccinated, where they get vaccinated, to dispel the mythology about the vaccination. But we just need to keep it simple. And we need to recognize that there are different messages that need to be targeted at different groups if we're going to be able to ramp up ahead of the anticipated fourth wave.
In terms of getting the vaccine to people, there was talk last night of how you can actually get the vaccines to come to a business. But I'm wondering, how easy is it currently? Let's say a business says, let's get a vaccination team to our office. We'll offer jabs to all our employees, all our clients. Is it still quite a jumping through hoops to organise, or fairly simple?
Well, businesses can't do it themselves. I mean, those businesses that are setting themselves up as primary sites need to go through a very complex process. It takes about a month. They need to make sure that they've got all the requisite curated facilities. They need to be registered with the South African Pharmacy Council. They need to go through National Department of Health requirements in order that they can then be licensed. So that's, as I said, takes about a month. The mining companies, for example, have done that because they have the facilities in situ. Many of them, though, have outsourced to pharmacies. They can either bring the pharmacies onto their premises. We've seen many people in the financial sector doing that, or they can schedule and agree with pharmacies that are already registered to do it. So we see that happening increasingly. In fact, the pharmacies, both the independent pharmacies and the larger corporate pharmacies, are one of the key pillars of our program of driving vaccination, and not just for people who are employed, but those who are not only not within the workforce of the business is concerned, but they might not be insured, might not be scheduled. The Department of Health has shown enormous flexibility in making sure that we can ensure that wherever possible, people can get vaccinated in a location most convenient to them.
We've seen Wimpy and Game, I think only those two as far as I know, offer discounts and incentives if you've got proof of vaccination. Why aren't more businesses jumping on this one?
We're talking to business across the board about the possibility of incentivization, not just, of course, for their employees and their workforce, but also the communities that they serve, their customers. That, at the end of the day, is a decision for the individual businesses. Certainly, the government is putting in place now a major unit to look at demand generation, and both positive and negative incentives will be part of it. Only yesterday, we talked about how we can open up the events industry. For example, people being able to visit stadia to watch rugby or football, to go to concerts and the like. We're going to have to be able to ensure that they can only do that when they've been vaccinated. And we're looking at the modalities to ensure that we can both reduce transmission risk, but use it as a positive incentive that if, in fact, enough people do get vaccinated, then these types of live events can once more be accessible, as we see is happening in many parts of the rest of the world, in Europe, the United States and elsewhere.
How quickly can this happen? Because that's the issue. It's getting jabs in arms before December.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, Sally, it's before December, it's before November. We think that the fourth wave is probably going to take off in about the middle of November. We haven't finished the third wave yet, as we know. It's much more pernicious than the second or the first wave, and it's operating at increasing levels in KZN, in the Western Cape and other parts of the country, even if we've seen a decline in Gauteng. So we've got a short window of opportunity. We estimate it's about 3 months to vaccinate as many people as possible. We've seen rates exceed 250,000 yesterday. We'd like to think we can get to 300,000, even to 400,000 in the coming weeks. We're now operating as a country 6 days a week. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to have at least the vast majority of the population jabbed with 1 jab, and preferably with 2, by the time that we get, as you say, to the end of the year.